I'm back. Hold on a minute. Now I'm really back. We have a talk today entitled Time to Change Your Costume. And because this nose has been in a drawer for a long time, it's musty. So the time to change this costume is right now. But you get the idea. I'm really glad to be here today. It's quite symbolic, being Halloween, and tomorrow is considered All Saints' Day by the Catholic Church. And it really fits into what I wanted to talk about today. The focus is pretty obvious. Time to change your costume, time to let go of what isn't working and come from that spiritual dimension that we are. But I'm going to expand it and keep you sitting in your seats for a little longer than that. I did want to give you a little bit of history. Today is Halloween, which is really the eve of All Hallows Day, which is All Saints' Day tomorrow. But it is also called, in the Celtic tradition, Samhain, which I always called Samhain. I would see it written S-A-M-H-A-I-N, and that's what I thought it was, but that's not the pronunciation. The Gaelic or Old Irish pronunciation is Samhain or Saun. It designated for those people the end of summer, the time of harvest, the time of moving from the season of light into the season of dark. And they would wear costumes to copy spirits or to placate them, because this was a time of when the veil between the spirit world and the physical world was thought to be very thin. They would also carve turnips, not pumpkins. I should actually be wearing carved turnips in my ears today. But they would make what we would call jack-o'-lanterns out of turnips and put those as lanterns in their windows to keep away the evil spirits. So that was kind of some of the background of Halloween. I have a feeling that when we got to the United States with it, they figured that pumpkins were larger than turnips and easier to carve, so that's probably what happened with our pumpkins. And then tomorrow being recognized as All Saints' Day. Saints, both recognized and unknown, but a saint was one who had been made divine because that person had had a direct visual perception of God. That's the understanding of this. And we often think of seeing as a physical experience, but there's a seeing within that any of us can have. And in that sense, all of us can be, or maybe already are, saints when we have that direct perception of the divine within us. And so today and tomorrow are symbolic for what I'm talking about that can happen right here and right now at any moment for all of us. This talk, thus, is about moving from trick, when we try to fool ourselves into thinking we're someone we're not, into treat, the treating ourselves to the life that we're really meant to have. So, I'd like to share with you a little bit about this costume of human, because so many of us buy into the fact, not the truth, but the fact that we are physical beings, that we are human beings first and foremost. And as we walk the spiritual path, we start to learn that that is but a costume. That is but a false identity. It is only the effect of our belief system. So I have a lot of questions for you today. in this first section of my talk. I don't have all the answers for you. I know that's hard to believe. I find it hard to believe myself. But really, each of you has your own answers. And what I like to do is raise questions for myself and for others, because it is in those questions, even if you don't have an immediate answer, in living those questions, you come into a richness, a greater understanding of who you are, a richness of answers that you might never have imagined were even there, that are way beyond costumes or masks or false identities. And so I would ask you first, are you, are we, am I even aware that we're wearing, that I'm wearing, that you're wearing a costume, a role, a false or limited identity? It could be the identity of human. It could be that large. Or it just might be the identity of mother, parent, spouse, teacher, employee, any of those roles that we play. It might be the identity or the costume of martyr. I sacrifice so much for my family and my community. Again, that's a role. That's a costume. There's the costume of being right. I'm right. I have to be right. What will happen in my world if I'm not right? I'll crumble. So there's a belief and a hanging on to that costume. There's a costume of fear, of being afraid of everything, of maybe being the victim, or just being afraid of life itself, afraid of what you really are inside, afraid of your own magnificence. Can't look there. Can't look there. That couldn't be. I'm invested in my costume. I'm invested in thinking the world itself is real. The world itself has power. That is a scary place to be, and it's a costume. There are many, many others, and I'm sure that you know what those are for yourself, or if you're open to it, you'll become aware of it. So do we even know we're wearing a costume?